Hi, this is Rochelle with Scrapcraftastic, and I'm going to bring you along on a little spur of the moment crafty plannery type thing. So I'm really behind in my B6 Stalogy for the month of July. I'm not even going to try to explain it anymore. I'm just behind. Um, and I want to get caught up. I don't like to skip weeks, even if I just draw out the week. Like I think I did that earlier in the year. I just drew out the week, yeah, here, and did a little something something. I don't like to skip the weeks here. That's where I just drew it out. I did that for several weeks, and I might do that again. So anyway, I decided I would just draw out the weeks, and then if I felt like I wanted to fill something in, then I could, but I'm not gonna stress over it. So I don't necessarily want to do that column look, and I don't necessarily want to freehand it. I was thinking, well, maybe I should just do a Hobonichi style week on one page and then leave the other page where I can decorate if I want to. And for this Stalogy, I cut it down to standard traveler's notebook size. It was an A5 and I trimmed it down. I have a stencil, here it is, that I can draw out my weeks with. Now, I made this stencil with one of the poly folders, and if you want to use this material, now is the time to get it. We're in back to school season, and I would just get the poly folders. I didn't even bother with the prong ones. If I could just find them, just the folder with the pockets, then I would use that material to make my stencils because stencil blanks are expensive, and you can get these for pennies basically after back to school season is over. So once the kids go back to school and that little seasonal section in Walmart goes on clearance, that's the time to load up on these. And that's what I do. I know I have some of these, but I still have boxes in storage. I'm not in the mood to go search through boxes to find my folders, not right now. So I'm going to wing it with something else. But this is just an example of how I use the stencil. I just drew it out and filled in my week. Um, yeah, I didn't really do a lot of decorating in this, but this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's me just using the stencil and drawing it, filling in my weeks. So I decided I would make my own stencil material, and hopefully this is going to work. I designed a B6 size and template, and I've saved it as a SVG file, imported it into the Silhouette Studio, and I went through my misprints and extra prints, and I found all of these. Let's look at them. So I'm thinking I can use these as part of my stencil and just cut my stencil out of these, but to make them sturdier, this is that printable acetate or transparency film for inkjet. To make this sturdier, I'm going to laminate it, and I'm going to use the 5 mil laminate. Hopefully, my silhouette will be able to cut through it. I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. But I pulled these because I feel like these are more than big enough, and I'm leaning towards using this one, this area here, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. And then I also have this one from October last year that I made. And I have this one. I think this one is probably too small, so I probably won't use it. So really it's between the sisters, and this is one of my all-time favorites. So yeah, I think I could probably get away with that one, but let's go. I'm gonna try this one first. Then if it doesn't cut the way that I want, I'm gonna have to do it again, and then I'll use the sisters. Okay. So what I'm going to do, let's put this back and remove them, is kind of dust this off a little bit because it was sitting on the shelf. And I don't know if it's got little doodads of dust on it. Let's just wipe it off a little bit. Then I'm going to just pop this in my 5 mil laminate pouch. Sorry for all the glare, but I don't have natural light in here. I'm going to have to have on a ring light to work. So let's pop this in. So I already have the laminator warm. Let's go ahead and put this in and laminate it. Again, this one is a misprint actually. I'm not gonna run it through twice, even though I probably should. Should I? I don't know why it's cloudy. It's got some cloudiness to it. Let's run it through one more time just to be on the safe side. Okay, so one thing that I think I did wrong, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. One thing I think I did wrong is I didn't change it to 5 mil. Um, I don't know if that's gonna make a difference or not, but we shall see. Okay, let's set that aside. Now I have my ratty little cutting mat. I guess it doesn't matter which side, but this is the side that I want to cut it on. And I have it lined up kind of in the corner. I don't know if this is going to stick on this mat very well. I hope it does. Because at the moment, I don't really know where my other mats are. I wonder if they are in the garage. Hopefully this will work. I didn't put that down exactly straight, but I don't know that it's going to matter that much. All right, so I kind of wanted to cut here. Kind of have to adjust where my design is on the mat. I'm not going to worry about that too much. It's not going to be perfect. I just want to make sure that I get all of it in the space that's color. All right, so I'm going to load this in the machine and go ahead and send the files to the machine. I'm also going to make this available for free on my website at scrapcraftastic.com, just in case anyone is interested in the template that I'm using. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, and then I'll be back to show you how it turns out. So that was an adventure, and it didn't work as well as I would have hoped. I probably should have plugged in my Cricut to get it to work properly. I think I can salvage this. I'm going to tell you what I did and go from there. So the first run I chose the stencil option and I told it to do 2 passes. And it did pull up like the first layer in the line spaces here, but I left it on the machine and I did stencil 2 passes again, and I increased the depth of the blade to 4 or 5, something like that. And it still didn't cut all the way through. Then I left it on the machine again, because if you take it out, you're never going to get it back in there exactly the way it was. So I left it on. I just kind of peeled up the bottom edge here to see if it had worked, and it hadn't. So I tried chipboard, and even though the chipboard settings are a little less pressure than the others, I went with the chipboard. I put the force all the way up, and I told it to do 2 passes, and I put the blade at about 9. And this is what we have. So I ran this through at least 3 times, and it still did not cut completely through. But I think, yeah, it didn't do it. I don't know if I can salvage it. I really wanted to use this design, but you can see it cut through these parts, but it didn't cut through the back piece. Probably should have just left it in the machine and did it again. Now, if it had cut through this back part, let me get my pokey tool. If it had cut through that, then I probably could have made it work, but it didn't. It didn't cut all the way through the back layer. So I cut through layer 1, layer 2. Oh boy, do I have to pull out my Cricut? That would have been so pretty too. Yeah, there's no way I can salvage that. All right, so we're gonna scrap this and try something different. Maybe I can cut this piece out and use that as a page marker. So let's do that real quick. At least I'll salvage a piece of it. So what I think I'll do different is just use 3 millimeter. It slides every time I cut it. Okay, that's better. Now I do see that it's pulling up, so I don't know if that's going to be the best idea. Maybe I should just use vellum instead of what I'm using. Let me round these corners. I'm gonna have to laminate that again just to make sure that it doesn't lift, but we'll worry about that once we cut the laminator back on. But yeah, we'll use that as a page marker for traveler's notebook or something. Is it big enough for that? It's actually the exact size of the page. But yeah, this is lifting. See how it looks in this. Or I could trim it down some more and use it in this. I think I prefer that. And I'll just leave it the size that it is, actually. Okay, so I need to relaminate that. Now, I'm going to try again with the sisters. Is that going to even work? If I try with them, am I going to be able to get them all in the frame? No, I'm not. Okay, think. I may end up using her. She's not my favorite, but I think she would probably be better. So I'm gonna try it again with the laminating this transparency film. If that is still too thick, then I am going to go with vellum. Oh, should I just get out my Cricut? I just don't feel like fooling with that thing today. Okay. Let's turn this on. We can start warming up. And let's put this on 5 mil. Hopefully that's right. Yeah, let me get some 3 mil laminate. Go ahead and laminate this and give it another try with the silhouette. Didn't wipe it off, but I think this one is okay. Let's see. Gotta wait for the ready light to come on and then I'll laminate. Okay, so it says it's hot. I changed it to 5 mil for this. So, well, I guess I don't need to adjust. It's not gonna matter. So I'm gonna re-laminate her. Since she's done, I'm gonna run her through. And while she's going through, I'm gonna Google to see if Silhouette can even cut through laminate. I'm gonna ask if it can cut through 5 mil laminate, even though this is 3 mil, but since it's got the piece in the middle. It says increase the passes. You use 2 to 4 passes, high blade depth and force. Max out or significantly increase your force 30 to 33 and use a higher blade depth, setting 6 to 8 plus, adjusting based on a test cut first. Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm not going to laminate this again, but I am going to leave the laminator out just in case it. Let's put this on. It's not that sticky, but it's fine. I think I'm going to cut this part off. Right, I'm going to feed this in the machine and give it another shot based on what I Googled and see what happens. I'll be right back. All right, so this is what we've got. I used the stencil material setting. I did it for 4 passes, set the pressure, or what is it called? Force at 33 and the blade at 9/10. And this is what I got. Again, this would probably be so much easier if I would just use the Cricut, but I don't have it set up. So, but at least this time it did cut through completely. Oh, I got a phone on here. Sorry, y'all. I guess I need to set old Cricut Girl up. So it did cut through the line spaces. It just did not really cut the outside border well. Out of the way. So I guess I need to cut that myself. But this is like the most important part. And it did cut that. So let's cut some of this excess off before I attempt to cut around it. I'm just trying to think, is it going to be best to use the scissors or should I use the cutting board? I think I'm the cutting board, paper trimmer. What did I say? Cutting board? All right, so I think it's going to be best to use the paper trimmer versus the scissors. So let's line this up. So now that it's all trimmed up, the corners are rounded, this is what we're working with. Now, I left the laminator on because I feel like I need to laminate it again just to make sure my edges stay sealed as best as possible. And I'm going to run it through this way with the lines going in this direction instead of this way so that nothing gets caught on the insides of this, hopefully. I don't want it to get snagged and stuck. So let's run that through. Now, again, this was a lot, me experimenting though, but this was a lot to do just to make one stencil, but I gotta look at how much use I can get out of this stencil. Also, I didn't have to use this material. I'm gonna run it through one more time. I didn't have to use the laminate and the transparency film or acetate. I could have just used the laminate by itself probably, or if I'd have put cardstock or paper inside of it, I think it would have been just as tough to cut. But I could have used that same poly material from the poly folders, school folders, and I'm pretty sure it would have been fine. I think I've cut with the Silhouette with the poly stuff before. But being that I don't have any on hand, this is what we did. Let's try one more time. But yeah, I think it came out okay. I'm gonna test it to see how it works. Okay, let's turn this off. And there we go. This is the planner. I need to get my August ready to go. So I had already drawn lines because I planned on doing something a little different. And maybe the poly would have been better, easier to hold in place because this is kind of stiff, but we shall see. Let's erase the lines or try to. So I was going to do daily pages, but being that I'm back planning, I don't need daily pages. So let's get rid of all of that. Now, I don't know if I need to tape this down or what, or if I even can tape it down. I'm going to use pencil though. Let's bring this up. See if that helps. Does a little bit. All right. Pencil, where are you? I've had these pencils for forever. Back when the Target dollar spot was actually the Target dollar spot. It may be time for me to invest in some new mechanical pencils, maybe. Uh-oh. That one's not open. Wonder why. Definitely next time, just use the Cricut. Right, let's see if I can use this with ruler to clean this up. So it works. A little troublesome, but got a cute little stencil that we can keep in here. I mean, I could make it go all the way to the edge, I guess, but I don't think that matters that much. Let's go ahead and date it. This washi tape, this day of the week washi tape is from Coco's Vision. I do have a code for them. I don't know if they still have the tape, but if they do, I do have a discount code. It is going to be in the description box below. And I may put it on the screen here. Depends on how this goes. I think I'm going to go all the way to the edge. That. I think these may be a little too big for this space, but since this time has passed and I'm back planning, I don't think it's going to matter that much. Okay, so now all I got to do is come back. I think I probably should have left more room over here to put the date, but I'll put the date on the other side, I think, just to have them lined up, or maybe underneath. I don't know. I think I'll put them over here. And I could come back with some washi tape, and that's good to go. Actually, let's go ahead and put some dates. I could just use black for some Mojo Jojo plans dated. I'm going to be starting with the 6th. So that one's done. Let's do one more to get us caught up. Now, since the lines are already there, I don't have to use a template, but I'm going to. And should I take a chance and use this back under there? Try and use Sharpie. No, I don't want to use Sharpie on this paper. Let's use what is this? A Papermate Flare. Could think of it. And let's move it over to the edge as much as possible. Make sure we're on using this correct page as a guide. It moved a little bit. So this is the one that wasn't cut quite right, that I had to cut manually. And I see there's a little bit more there that needs to come out because it's blocking my lines, but I think that came out okay. So in this one, let's put down the dates first. I'm gonna use this again. All right. So that's 2 weeks down. Let's do another one. I'm actually not going to draw lines on this one. I'm just going to use the shadow from the previous page as a guide, just to do something a little different. What are we starting with? 20, 21. Guess I'll stick with the same um, fonts. Now, do we need the line? I don't know. I could probably use washi tape later when I decide what the spread is going to look like. Um, let's use a different font this time. Let's go with this. Wednesday always messes everything up because it's so long. It's always out of line. Maybe I should put Wednesdays down first so that I can line everything else up accordingly. It doesn't really matter that much, but just to make it more visually appealing, even though it wastes a little bit more space doing it that way. This also helps with my space in this B6 Stalogy notebook, doing the week on one page, and I'm only using basically 2 pages for the week. I've used a little more pages than I normally would. So I've gone a little more than halfway, I think. Maybe not. I don't know, but I just want to make sure I have enough pages to make it through the end of the year because I don't want to start another notebook before the year ends. The next week falls a little bit into August, but I'm going to go ahead and do that as July as well. See, I had already marked here also that I was going to do the columns. We might revisit that in August, I think, if I remember. So let's go back with the template again. And I think I'm going to go back to the pencil. because using the pen is scary. Again, this stencil file will be in the freebies on the scrapcraftastic.com website. So just go to the freebies page and you should, that was terrible. You should be able to find it there. So let's try something different. But the problem is I don't know what color I'm going to be using. Um, oh, so I can use these. Just give me a chance to use some of these. All right. And is there anything in here that I can use for my days of the week? Let's try this one. So those are from an old Agenda 52. When was this? From 2017. The Paper Studio Calendar Foiled Sticker Pack. That's how long I've been using that. This one is 2020, Numbers and Days. And it has seen better days. Let me make sure I don't have anything else that I want to use because I like to save my scripts. These are so old though that the edges of the sticker paper is starting to yellow. I'll go with this. They made their Wednesday smaller. So some people keep the font the same size. Some people make it smaller. So that is done. So I was thinking about coming back using some washi tape here to divide the lines, but no, I'm going to do it. I don't think I'll like it. I just wanted to share my whole process, kind of how to make one of these stencils. So if you're interested, you're using a B6, check out the freebies. And I think there is also one there for the standard size. So just do like a search on stencils on the freebies page, and you should be able to get it. And then I just made this with the miscut, misprint scraps. All right, so I hope this was helpful and you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.